Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see everybody. It's not 10 below this year. That's a good start. So, always one of my favorite days and a great time to bring everyone together on the day we celebrate as the birthday of Dr. King. So I'm going to start with a quote. So I encourage all of you, if you want to be inspired, go read quotes from Reverend King. I mean, there are just dozens and dozens of remarkable quotes that if on any given day you don't feel particularly inspired, that will cause you to look at the world in a quite different way. So this was the one I picked for today. Probably no more important now than it was when it was said. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. So let's think about that as it relates to our hospitals that have come together, our health system that's come together, a time in this country with states that had very different views of the world and the coming together of our country. And as we think about what it means for our world and world peace, unbelievably important. So those of you I haven't seen in the new year, Happy New Year, Happy New Decade. It's hard to believe as I sit here that it's 2020. That sounded an awfully long way off when I started in medical school. I can't believe that it's here today. But it's an exciting time as we turn what is an important page. We annually do this, as many of you know, in celebration of Dr. King and all that Dr. King stood for. An extraordinary person. As I've said before, somebody that I think about as one of my few heroes, somebody that I aspire to be like almost every day. It's important to think about what the messages mean and about that connectivity to who we are and what we do, because I think as you'll hear today, there's a lot of connectivity. I was fortunate this summer. I was traveling in Scandinavia, and I happened to be at the Nobel Museum in Stockholm, where they were doing an exhibit of many of the things associated with Dr. King. And I was recalling this morning sitting at that exhibit looking at the letters announcing that he had gotten the Nobel Peace Prize. At that time, the youngest person in history at age 35 to get the Nobel Peace Prize. The invitations that followed, inviting him to come and to talk to various groups in Scandinavia, what that felt like, and that in the context of what was going on in America at that time. It was, I just looked in awe as I thought about what it had to be like for him, his family, and the difference that was being made at that point in time. So if you read my email just late last week talking about how we were thinking about it, I called out a few different attributes that, again, are just so important to all that we do in healthcare. Compassion, respect, dignity, tolerance, diversity, and most importantly, service. So those were the ideals that were the constant nexus for Dr. King. When he talked, you could find those threads in just about everything that he talked about. And you think about our exceptional doctors, our exceptional nurses, our exceptional team members, and what we do every single day with those attributes. I mean, that's you. That's what makes our health system special. It's the letters I get that talk about the caring that gets delivered. that compassion, respect, dignity, tolerance. Buildings don't make that. So we have lots of big buildings going up, lots of building going on throughout the entire health system. But that's not what it's really about. It's about each of you. It's about the people that exist in our system. It's about the people who deliver the care. All the people, regardless of title, anybody touching one of our patients. It's been an amazing first 5 years for our very young health system. No one would have predicted that you all would have been able to accomplish what's been accomplished. 4th redesignation of Magnet, Magnet at Newark, no beacons to 19 beacon awards, new clinical services, recruitment of countless physicians throughout the health system, creating healthcare sustainability that I hope you're all proud of, but that stands as one of the best in the country. No one would have predicted that. But we don't aspire to do that for the greatness of Rochester Regional Health. We aspire to do that for the greatness of the patients, their families, and our community. He taught us that together, all of us, we can get those remarkable things done. With a few of us, not so much. So today, as we sit here, almost 20,000 people strong in this organization, spread out over hundreds of square miles of upstate New York, we have that opportunity to make an incredible difference. It's a great morning that we have planned. The School of the Arts that's been with us before. Appreciate all of you being here. You do a wonderful job. Great voices, and looking forward to that. Darren Roberts, an author and a former NFL coach, is here with us, and Kevin will be introducing him in a few minutes. And then appreciate Hunter, who you've met before if you've been into any of these, our interpreter. We may have all come on different ships, but we're on the same boat now. Thank you for taking great care of our patients. Thank you for taking care of them like family. And I want to encourage everybody to take a moment today in just quiet and think about what the day really means. Thank you.
Please stand for Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Bring with the harmony.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Bieber. Thank you, Ms. Ocampo, for inviting us to perform again. We're the School of the Arts from Rochester, New York. We'll be providing a couple of songs for you. Once again, we are honored to be allowed to perform here to celebrate the day honoring Dr. Martin Luther King.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall, no one would hear?
So let that lonely feeling wash away, 'cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running,
Oh, take you home. When the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
if you only say the word, across the silence, voice is heard. Someone will come running to take you even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is new. Feeling of the empty, suddenly I see that all is new. All is new. You are not alone. 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 You are not alone.
when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground.
Thank you, School of the Arts Concert Choir, for that incredible performance. We can't wait to hear from you a little later in the program. My name is Kenneth Frazier, and it is a pleasure to be with you this morning. I am the director of Rochester Regional Health Youth Apprentice Program, also known as YAP, or YAP, sometimes we're called that. I oversee Hillside Work Scholarship Connection Program and a few other programs throughout for youth. Now in its 31st year, YAP has created life-changing work through educational opportunities and youth development. I am here to introduce to you two students from our program who will be delivering their award-winning essays this morning. Our first student is Jenna Lee. Jenna is a senior at School of the Arts, shout out again to School of the Arts, where she studies creative writing. Jenna has been with YAP since August 2019 and is currently assigned to the operating room at Rochester General. Jenna is a high honor with distinction student, receiving a 4.38 grade point average during her first quarter at school. Jenna is also in the National Honor Society. In addition to working at RGH, Jenna serves on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, where she is an officer. Jenna is undecided where she wants to attend college. She's probably waiting for the right college with the right financial aid package, right? She does have an interest in nursing. Please help me welcome Jenna to the podium.
Hi, everyone. Okay. When a woman reached over the rails of her hospital bed and grabbed my hands, eyes tired from her traumatic day, thanking me for my service after returning from a CAT scan, I was reminded of the values that come with serving patients and why I chose to become a nurse. Working with patients and staff at Rochester General Hospital taught me that channeling compassion, respect, and love through the people that come to us for help is not only uplifting, but also represents a progression toward the right steps for the community. I hold my time at Rochester General Hospital close to my heart as I can express my passion for the people through my service. Throughout my time in the adult emergency room, I learned that kindness comes in different forms. Whether it is readjusting the blood pressure cuff to make patients comfortable, boosting them in bed because their back hurts, or simply giving patients orange juice and graham crackers, these people are appreciative of those that serve, even in the smallest ways. With more serious cases where patients are wheeled into the trauma room, I can still hear the relief in their voice that although they are unaware of what is happening to them, they know they are being treated by the wonderful staff that care for their health. My interactions with the patients enlarge my perspective of the world around me. I give patients blankets, food, and help them to the bathroom. Not only this, but I take their vitals, run their heart monitor, and perform EKGs on them. I learn about these people's stories, and there are times when the patients just need someone to talk to. There is no type of person who enters the hospital. I see the elderly, college students, minimum wage workers, single mothers, and so many more. These experiences emphasize the importance of being culturally and socially sensitive to those around me. I value their perspectives because these experiences nurture me into a more compassionate, understanding person. I am grateful for the patients that I serve because they motivate me to become a better person every day. They remind me that I am great in my own right because my heart lies within serving. It is with this that Dr. Martin Luther King believed everybody can be great because everybody can serve. All a person needs to become great is a soul of love dedicated to unselfish action. I plan to continue my nursing path while holding the values of Rochester Regional Health, my values, and those of Dr. King to the highest esteem to motivate me towards success. Becoming a nurse is not easy, but maintaining compassion and respect is the first step to become one. I hope that my future experiences at RGH is one of fulfillment, as I am confident to say that my passion is people, and nothing inspires me more than serving them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. And Jenna, where's your sister? I just want to recognize your sister for being here. Hey. Our second scholarship award winner is Louis Anthony Lopez. Louis is a senior currently attending Integrated Arts and Technology High School, which is located on the Franklin campus not far from Rochester General. Louis is in his second year in the program and has worked in a variety of departments. Louis challenged me at the beginning of the school year, stating that he would make honor roll by the end of the first quarter. Guess what? He did. Louis went from a 2.0 GPA last year to a 4.07 last marking period. Louis plays varsity baseball, varsity bowling, runs cross country. He's undecided with college plans, but he wants to study either criminal justice or forensic science or enlist in the Marines or play baseball or all five. And Louis' dad and cousin is here. Where are they? There they are.
Hi, how everyone doing today? Just want to say sorry in advance, I'm a little sick, but everyone can serve because everyone can be great because everyone can serve. Dr. King left us with a legacy filled with inspiring words and a call to action that will last beyond our lifetime. One of his most famous quotes, "Everyone could be great because everyone can serve," holds a special meaning to me. When I think about how lucky and fortunate I am to be part of the Youth Apprentice program, I have to reflect on why I'm here to begin with. Not only did I want to be in the YIP program to learn about careers in the healthcare, but also in some small way I wanted to contribute. And I didn't quite know how yet, but by having the opportunity to be in this program, I was determined to find out. I've had the opportunity to work in a variety of departments, including several patient care units. These units have taught me everything from how to give accurate blood pressure readings to how to spot a patient in distress. However, the assignment I enjoy the most is radiology. In radiology, I work as a patient transporter. Being a patient transporter may sound basic, but it's not. Working there has taught me to become a better person and realize that I can bring joy to patients, even if it's only for a few moments. I do this by making patients laugh while distracting them from their pain or the worries about having to take their future tests. Patients share the most interesting and personal stories. Sometimes the stories are a little too personal. Oh man, lost my spot. Oh. But I'm happy they are willing to share with me anyways. When a patient pays me a compliment for being kind or going the extra mile, it makes me know in some small way I contributed. The son of a teacher at my high school was a patient here. I transported him to most of his tests. Sadly, her son passed away. But the teacher thanked others and myself for the display of kindness that we showed while he was in the hospital. Kindness and caring are the contributions that all can display Caring are the contributions that we can all display and that cost nothing. From the awesome team at RGH Radiology to my fellow peers in the Youth Apprentice, you make coming to work enjoyable. People here are fun to work with, but most importantly, people make you feel exclusive. You teach us that everybody plays an important role in the patient recovery. I don't necessarily consider myself great, well, at least not yet, but I am grateful for the opportunity to be part of an organization that cares about its patients, people, and community. Thank you, Rochester Regional, for giving us and the students the opportunity to serve and contribute.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Jenna. I am very pleased on behalf of Rochester Regional and Rochester General to welcome our keynote speaker here. Our speaker is certainly one who understands the powerful calling of community service. Through leadership, teaching, and helping others, Darren K. Roberts comes to us. Darren is a graduate of the University of Texas, where he received his undergraduate degree, and of Harvard Law School. He currently serves as the founding director of the Center for Sports Leadership at the University of Texas. The center is the first university-based institute dedicated to developing leadership character curricula for high school, college, and professional athletes. His course, A Game Plan for Winning Life, is presented at the University of Texas to all incoming freshman student athletes. In 2010, Darren launched a not-for-profit football camp called 4th and 1, which provides free SAT prep, life skills development, and football training to at-risk youth in Michigan, Texas, and Florida. The camp has served hundreds of student athletes since its inception. Darren was a member of the Presidential Leadership Scholar inaugural class in 2015. The program brings together leaders with diverse backgrounds who are committed to help solving societal problems, while learning about leadership through the lens of the presidential experience of George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Lyndon Johnson. Darren has been featured in ESPN The Magazine, Bloomberg's Business Week, and Sports Illustrated. He has penned articles that have appeared in the Dallas Morning News, Fortune Magazine, the Houston Chronicle, and Time Magazine. He recently authored the book Call an Audible, which was named #1 new release and bestseller by Amazon, and Sports Illustrated selected the book as one of the best sports business books of 2017. It goes without saying that Darren has devoted his life to leadership and serving others, just as Dr. Martin Luther King did. We are honored to have Darren as part of today's celebration. Please join me in welcoming Darren.
Thank you. Each January, I reread the same book, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. And so it is even more special that I can visit Rochester in this month. On my way to the airport, I'm going to visit his burial site. But I think the text speaks so much to the struggle and how we can will our existence to bend towards justice. I grew up in the piney woods of East Texas. I'm a 5th-generation East Texan. My great-great-grandfather, Bill Roberts, juts from the landscape of the Texas County Registry in 1870. There is an inscription in which Bill Roberts owns 170 acres. The year is 1870, and so you historians will know that this is only 5 years removed from the end of the Civil War. It goes without saying that my family has found it to be quite a mystery how this black man in East Texas, in a county that sent troops to the Confederacy, in just 5 years accumulated so much land. But my dad told me this. He said, I don't know how Bill Roberts got all of this land, but I can tell you that he didn't get it from sleeping in. So with that, I went to the University of Texas. My dad told me that I needed to set a goal for my life, and I said that I wanted to be governor of Texas by age 40. Now, I turned 41 last year, so obviously I took a wrong turn somewhere. But in 1997, that was the plan. And my senior year, I applied to Harvard Law School, and I don't get accepted. I don't get rejected. Can anyone tell me what's in the middle? The dreaded wait list. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. I'll paraphrase for you. Dear Darren, we like you. Unfortunately, we like so many more people more then we like you. In the highly unlikely event that all of those people turn us down, we may reach back out to you, but if you have any viable options for law school, we highly advise you to take them. With love, Joyce P. Curl, Dean of Admissions. I was distraught. I spent 3 days in sackcloth and ashes. At the time, I was on a very linear, if A then B, if B then C type of roadmap, and so this was quite the detour. I worked in DC, I reapplied to Harvard Law School, year 2, year 3, year 4, same wait list. And so this is where Gwen Roberts will enter the picture. Gwen Roberts, 32 years as an elementary school principal, my mom, she calls me and she says, honey, you know I love you, right? I said, yeah, you gave birth and yeah, I get it. Yes, you do love me. She said, I don't know how to tell you this, but Harvard doesn't want you. I said, oh, that's harsh. I said, well, listen, when I walk through your school, there's these signs on the walls, you know, reach for the stars and keep your face to the sunshine. And she said, yeah. She said, those are for little people, Darren. You're an adult now. And so you need to go to law school somewhere. So I told her, I said, well, I'm going to give it one last shot. And so I get in. In 2004, I begin law school. I'm going along this linear track when a high school buddy of mine asked me to work a football camp with him. So I go to the University of South Carolina, and I'm coaching 6th graders, okay, 60 6th graders, none of whom had any athletic talent whatsoever, okay, being coached by a football coach who wasn't a football coach. And so for 3 days, we were quite the sight there in Columbia, South Carolina. But I took an inventory of my feelings, and I noticed that for those 3 days, I did not have to set my alarm clock to get up. And something was stirring into me, within me to become a coach. And so I decided that I would go back and graduate, but that I wanted to be a football coach. And so I called my mom. I said, Mom, I want to be a coach. She said, oh, it's great, honey. So this is how you will fulfill your pro bono hours. The law firm needs you to volunteer coach. I said, no. So I want to do this full time. She said, let me put your dad on the phone. Kurt Roberts, 43 years, Baptist minister. He had one question for me. Son, do you know how much debt you're in? Right? At the time, I was $250,000 in debt pre-interest. My dad said, now the deal we made was that we would pay for undergrad, but grad and law school would be up to you. And I said, you know, Dad, I've been thinking about that, and you know, I was blessed to get a full academic ride to UT, and so by my very crude accounting, it looks like you and Mom owe me around $69,432.92. So my dad, being the minister that he is, said, well, let's pray. And so we prayed. Then he hung up the phone. I have yet to see the check. I wrote a letter to every team in the NFL. How many are there? You want to know? You probably only care about one, but there are 32 of them. Bill Belichick, no. Wade Phillips, no. I get 31 rejections until finally I get a phone call from a man named Herm Edwards, who was the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs at the time. May I please speak to Darren Roberts? Yes, this is he. This is Herm Edwards. Yes, sir. Son, what's wrong with you? I said, well, Coach, nothing that's been documented. I went to South Carolina, I worked this campus. Yeah. Listen, I read your letter. I don't read my own mail, but my secretary put your letter on my desk. Are you sure there's nothing wrong with you? Yes, sir, I'm sure. He said, okay, I want you to take out a pen and paper. He said, you're going to be our training camp intern. No pay, no benefits, no benefits. So obviously I'm thinking to myself, I don't really need a pen and paper to remember this. All right, no pay, no benefits, 18-hour days. And I said, sign me up. So I graduate, I drive from Cambridge, Massachusetts to Kansas City, Missouri, and so I'm the grunt. So if the offensive lineman needed 40 barbecue sandwiches, I was the guy. If the defensive lineman needed 5 cases of Red Bull, I was the guy. For the entire season, I slept in the bowels of Arrowhead on a twin blow-up mattress. And at the end of the season, we went 4-12, which is not a good record. Herm Edwards fired half of the staff and hired me on full-time. So I spent 7 years coaching. And then finally, my last team was America's team. Anyone a fan of America's team? Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns. It works every time. It's too easy. It works every time. We went 4-12, which in retrospect is actually not a bad record. But nevertheless, the owner, Jimmy Haslam, thought otherwise. And so the day after the last game of the season, we were all fired, and I went home and was scrambling eggs. And my oldest son was 3 at the time. He walks in, and he starts tugging at my shirt, and he says, "You eat breakfast?" So I did what any good dad would do. I ignored the kid and kept scrambling. I'd just been fired. He comes back, persistent fellow. He says, "You eat breakfast." So I turned to my wife, and I said, "Honey, you convinced me to put this kid in the private school. Do you have a receipt? Is it too late for a refund? Something's not right." And she says, "Well, let me ask you this question. When was the last time you had breakfast with Dylan?" I immediately break down. I couldn't think of a breakfast, nor lunch, snack. I was up and going to the office at 4 a.m. During the season, I slept at the office 2 nights a week. The irony hit me that I was spending all of my time with other people's sons, and my own son didn't know me. And so I returned to the University of Texas and started teaching leadership courses to our athletes. And this brings us here today. So today, we're here to commemorate the life of a man. And when we think of the breadth of life, it's amazing to think that he only spent 39 years here. But Dr. King's quote, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve," is something that resonates in this time, because so much of our justification now comes from how many retweets your last post received, how many likes your last post got. And at a time where oftentimes these superficial indicators can become what's important, we're brought back to this notion of service. Greatness is built through service. And the essence of service, and you think about the sick and the dejected, those who are in need of help. This most viable and valuable resource that we have is through service. As you continue on this quest, I just have a few pieces of advice to aid you on this journey. I was, in Dante's Inferno, Dante is ushered by Virgil. And my Virgil today was Vic. Vic took me into the bowels of the hospital, and it's incredible, from the food delivery service to sterilization to the linen service, all of these underpinnings of what it takes to care for the needs of humans. I saw that in real life, and you hear the stories of people who've been here for 40 years and whose sons work here and whose daughters work here. This is truly a family commitment to service. First thing I want us to think about is to stay in the deep end. Whether prepping rooms for surgery or greeting patients at the front door, All of us deal in the commerce of smiles, hugs, tears, and thank yous. I know you're overworked and tired. My wife and I have 5 kids. Sometimes you grow weary of the late nights and early mornings. I want you to keep pushing. Keep waking up and inflating your attitude each morning. Keep smiling even when you don't receive the gratitude that you deserve. Like you, I have been called to a life of service. I teach 400 students at the University of Texas each year, and I can remember very distinctly before my first class, I was nervous, and in moments like this, I always reach out and call my dad. And he said something to me. I was going through my PowerPoint presentation and all of the bullet points, and he said, "Remember this, Darren. We are in the business of sowing seeds. We sow seeds. Some of those seeds will sprout immediately. Some of them will fall to the rocks. Some of them will sprout in due time. But all we do is sow seeds." And so for all of you, and I know many of you are listening at your computers, on your cell phones, keep sowing seeds. Sometimes the sprout doesn't come as soon as we would like. Sometimes it's deferred. There are many people who are thanking you on the car ride away from Rochester Regional Health. They're thanking you 2 and 3 years later as they're spending time with loved ones who were giving a short time frame to live. So let's keep sowing seeds. The second piece of advice is please continue to take care of you. As you continue to pour into the lives of others, please take time, some small time to carve out for you. I told you that story of scrambling eggs, and I thought about the schedule that I was maintaining. I thought I was young and viral, and then it hits me that that time was spent away from my son. All of us have to find some time. Maybe it's 15 minutes of a quick walk. Maybe it's 5 minutes of reflection and meditation in the evening, or 10 minutes of silence in a closet in the morning, as it is for me. Find some way to repel from all of the truly important and deep matters. I was reminded of this as I sat at the front waiting this morning for my first meeting. While I sat there, there was a man who was coming for dialysis. There was a woman looking for a patient who was lost. And I watched the interaction. Trepidation, fear. And God bless the women at the front. They approached each person with a smile. Right? There's something about human connection that can't be replicated, not through our phones and not through Zoom and Skypes and Facebook requests. This thing we call a human connection happens here. And as I sat there and I watched it, I said, please, as you continue to pour so much into everyone around you, pour into yourselves. And finally, I want you to keep being a hope dealer. Keep being a dealer of hope. In the spring of 2017, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. This was no surprise to me. Prostate cancer claimed my grandfather and 2 uncles. As you can imagine, my mom and my sister and myself, we didn't know what to do. This was the patriarch of our family. And although we were somewhat prepared for the diagnosis, at the same time, we were not. He had his surgery at UT Southwestern. And this is what I remember. I don't remember in which room he was. I don't remember what floor. I remember a nurse coming out and sitting down with my mom and my sister and myself and explaining what had just occurred. I remember a text message from the doctor 2 weeks later asking how things were. I remember a phone call from the person at the front desk asking how our experience was. There were all of these micro movements towards connection and love. And with each piece of contact and each connection point, our spirits were lifted. I'm happy to say that 2 years later, my dad's PSA levels are minuscule. He is spending his life chasing 7 grandchildren and fishing and hunting. But from someone who was on the receiving end of the care and the affection and the love that you give here at Rochester Regional Health, I want to say thank you. As you charge into the new year, I was fortunate to see the new tower that will be built and to think about all of the lives that will be changed from that building. I just want you to remember to stay in the deep end, take care of you, and keep selling hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren, for your inspiring words to all of us here and those watching at our live streaming locations. Every person we heard from today has dedicated themselves to valuable work that improves the lives of others. We hope you all thoroughly enjoyed the program as much as we enjoyed hosting it. We invite you for a reception in appreciation of our speakers and musicians on the second floor in the Twig Auditorium vestibule. But before that, we have one more treat. We would like to welcome the School of the Arts Concert Choir for one last performance titled Optimistic.
As long as you keep your head to the sky.
you.